Welcome to the Profitable NDIS Provider Podcast, where we're joined by your hosts, Tania Gomez and Paul Bryan. In each episode, we'll be sharing valuable insights and tips to help you turn your NDIS business into a profitable venture. So whether you're just starting out or looking to take your business to the next level, you've come to the right place. Let's stop surviving and start thriving.
Welcome to the Profitable NDIS Provider Podcast. We are starting off in 2025. It's amazing to be here, and I'm joined with my amazing co-host, Tania. How are you going?
I'm wonderful, Paul. Happy New Year. It's so lovely to be back here for episode 56.
Holy moly.
I know, amazing. I'm really excited. And I thought we would kick off this year with a kind of, you know how in the new year everyone goes on a diet and they have a New Year's resolution and they want to start with like new year, new you. So I thought that maybe we could do a podcast today about how to refresh your brand and your marketing strategy to kind of spend time in 2025 to really think about your marketing, your positioning, and how you want to stand out from the rest in 2025. What's your new you, new year?
Yeah, brilliant. I think it's really important for everyone to sort of take at least some time throughout the year, and now is better time than any to actually just jump in and go, what wasn't working? What do I need to change? What do I want to be different for this year? And, really creating that whole roadmap for what things are going to look like. And you're 100% right. Looking at your brand and your marketing is a key way to be able to really change the perspective that you have on what this year will look like.
Yeah. And I've been talking to lots of people about marketing strategies, and I feel like very often it comes back to this idea of, you can do a Facebook campaign, you can do all of these activities, business development, networking, but if you don't really know what your brand stands for and what are your brand promises and what do you stand for as a brand, what's your why are you in this space, it makes it a lot harder to do things like a website or a marketing strategy without really understanding that first.
Yeah, I always ask a new provider or any provider I start working with this question is, why would someone choose you over the next provider? Because you've got 220,000 competitors across Australia, right?
Yeah.
And you go to a networking meeting and say, what do you do? I'm a provider. Oh, cool. I'm a provider too. And that's where the conversation sort of stops. And I think people are really lacking the idea of, what are we about? What do we stand for? What are we passionate about? Why are we in this space? And having that clarity to be able to communicate that, it's not about your logo. I mean, that's part of your brand. It's not about your website. That's part of your brand. But how do you make people feel? How do you communicate your big why or your North Star about what you do? And I think a lot of people are missing that. They're just going out, yeah, I'm an NDIS provider. I can help everyone, which means we help no one. And it can be really, really vague to everyone in the community entirely.
Yeah, completely agree. I couldn't agree with that more. If you're serving for everyone, you're serving no one. And I've really tried at the end of 2024 and about December, we did a whole lot of new marketing and branding. We've changed our colors a little bit. I went and got new images. We really looked at the messaging on all of our social media pages. And that was really so coming into 2025, we could polish, I suppose, our brand.
Mm-hmm.
Our brand's still pretty young. We're 2 years in March. I really felt like we needed to lift our brand and lift things like our colors. My marketing team found that the gold and the black was really hard to work with and made things dark. So we've kind of moved to we always had the gold in there, but we've kind of moved to a gold and white in lots of our brand and coloring. And we've actually introduced some new brands in this year. So we've got Provider Collective, which is purple, which really offsets with the white and the gold and the black. And we've got Philosophy, which is green, like a emerald green. So the purple, green, black, and gold all go together. And then we've got the Profitable Provider, which is a bright yellow. And so by having those different colors, we actually sat down and worked out how they all combine and when we're using what and how do they go together on our pages, so that we're really clear on what the brand elements were. You might have noticed on our banners and things, we also now have all of our logos of things like the Profitable Provider, our SDA Mastery, our Ask Tania, our Philosophy, our SIL Summit, so that at a glimpse you can see that we're much more than just TGC. We've got these other elements, and that was really feedback from everyone on, I've listened to the Profitable NDIS Provider, but I didn't know you had 3 other podcasts or 4 other podcasts. And so by putting those out there, people then go, oh, wow. From a brand perspective, we've also done quite a lot of work on our website. Hopefully when this goes live, it's live so people can check it out. But we spent quite a lot of time on pages on our website on who do we work for or who do we work with. So, and that was really to contextualize our offering. So we work with SIL providers, core supports providers, SDA providers, and allied health. And we have a page for each of those now that breaks down all of our offerings for those people. Awesome. And has all of those resources so that if you're a SIL provider, you come to a page about how we specifically help you. And so from the brand side of things, we've really spent time looking at that. I've also redone all of my product offerings and talked about, really being clear on the messaging for each. And we've really simplified our offering as well. So I've spent quite a lot of time in between October and December 24 working on that, so that come into 25 we have all of those things ready, and really trying to polish the TGC brand. And I must say that I get compliments on my marketing almost all the time. People, ask me if I have a marketing company, if I can help them with their marketing. And I get comments about how our marketing is on point and everywhere, and people choose us because of our marketing. So I feel like we must be getting some of that stuff right.
Well, I think you find out it's right by people signing up and being clients, right? And you can see an actual trajectory that someone follows from simply finding out about you and then consuming content and then being helped by the resources that you have and seeing you regularly around places, and then the follow-up of people recommending. And it's just that consistency that really continues to build, where people build trust, they learn things, their information is broadened by what you do, and having that recognizable brand that just runs through everything helps people follow, I guess, the breadcrumbs, right? That you're leaving all over online and in person straight to where you are, which is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, we also went through a process. We did a lot of Facebook ads in 2024, and we had heaps of inquiries. Like we were getting 40 to 50 inquiries a day. And we just found that the volume was too big. We had to get a whole lot of extra resources, and the conversion was low. So we actually turned off all of our paid ads and instead just focused on boosting our events and our podcasts to really get a better return. And I must say that since we've done that, we also changed up the sales process a bit. But since doing that, our conversion rate has just gone so much higher. The quality is better. So really focusing on, is it quantity or quality, and how does that actually affect the return on investment? So kind of bringing that numbers into things has really helped me. So I guess that's a little bit from my perspective. But Paul, let's go back and talk about how we can apply this to providers. What steps do you think a provider can take to have a look at their current branding and marketing and have a look at where they can be improving that?
Yeah, look, there's a few key things. And, I had a good chat with a couple of guys in branding and marketing towards the end of last year with a bundle of our clients. And one of the key takeaways was actually going out and looking at what is happening in the market and seeing what people are doing, seeing what's successful, seeing what's not successful, and then taking a good hard look at yourself and your online presence and how you communicate. If anybody's watching the video, you'll be able to see this logo, which is 2 hands, usually either with a bird or a heart or a house in it. You may have found that logo on Canva. It is, as far as I can tell, the most highly used logo in the NDIS at the moment. And what it does is it's really creating confusion. It's making people just go, oh, here's just something. But what it does is it just tells everybody you're the same as everybody else.
Yeah.
So number one thing is going out and measuring your business. One of the things I like to do with clients is actually get them to write down some of the core values of their business. And, sometimes we start with things like we're family based. We love our clients. We treat them all individually. But then what we do is actually go out and have a look at other brands and see how many times those same sentiments come up. And unfortunately, a lot of the time businesses are quite taken back by realizing that, oh, I'm saying the exact same thing as everybody else.
Yeah.
And that messaging is continuously being repeated, which, to be honest, just makes you fall into the background. So I love how you've had this opportunity, Tania, to go through and actually look at what's working and get feedback and make some of those changes. And that's exactly what providers should be doing right now, is taking a step back, not having, glassy eyes about their brand that they put together or paid money for, but actually going, is this helping me stand out? Is this attracting the right people to my business? Is it giving the right information, right? And, I talk to a lot of people who are also very focused on one area. They have a very clear niche, a very clear service offering, but none of their online presence says that.
Yeah.
It's very generic and people get lost. And so they have this fantastic service. It may be the world's best SIL offering that is available in Australia. But if your website says, we do SIL, we do community access, we help you with cleaning, all this sort of stuff, nobody's going to know because it's not focused on exactly what you do and solving a specific problem. So one little takeaway, what problem are you actually solving? And is that clear to your market?
Yeah, I think that's really great advice. I think the other thing to think about is if you are offering multiple services, is that actually you can just have a really simple landing page for each.
100%.
Right? So you don't have to just have a homepage that's really generic. You could have a homepage that talks about your why and why you're here, what the difference is you're making, what geographical area, who you're serving. And then you could have a page that is allied health or behavior supports or core supports or day programs. And in that page, get really specific about what you do. Have photos, real photos of what you do. Have some video. Yeah, I think if you inject that personal touch, that is what's going to cut through. And I know not everyone's happy using their own images and their own face, and there's a whole lot of imposter syndrome about, am I good enough to be the face of this company? But it is, in many cases, small and medium businesses, it really is your business and you are the reason people are choosing you. So you kind of need to be out there a little bit. And I obviously do this quite a lot, and you do this quite a lot. And, I guess I want to make sure everyone knows that it's not comfortable for me. It's not something I like doing, but it cuts through and it's effective. And that's the reason we do it. I don't like my face being on everything, but people...
I'm with you there about mine as well.
I know, right?
It's uncomfortable.
It's uncomfortable. I guess someone in one of my group programs the other day said, look, I want to look at personal branding. You seem to be doing that. What's your tips? And I guess my tips around that is to get some photos of yourself you actually like. Because I know it's vain and it's all ego, but for ages I used photos that were just left over from another photo shoot. And I really disliked it. So this year we've really gone and got some nice photos done of ones that I actually can stand of myself. And it actually makes a whole lot of difference to the confidence of using those images. But also like thinking about your wonderful team. If you've got amazing support workers, it's not that expensive to get a photo shoot or get someone with a good camera. And there's some really simple tips, little things like, getting everyone to wear a black t-shirt or a white t-shirt. And then by everyone wearing a black t-shirt, you can just get them to take a selfie at home against the white wall. Everyone's got a white wall. Everyone's got a black t-shirt. And by doing that, you can use some really simple Canva cutout images and pop people in. And automatically, you've got everyone uniformed. Everyone looks professional. Everyone looks systematic. And you can just lift that standard rather than having all different images and different angles and people sending you a photo. Just get them to do a headshot against a white wall in a black t-shirt. Simple things like that really do make a lot of difference. And really start to think about, what are you projecting to people? What are they receiving? And I guess on that point, who is your website designed to be read by? Is it a tool for people with disability or your end user, or is it for your chooser, which might be the support coordinator, the parent, the guardian, etc.? And you might also need to have different landing pages for them. And so I guess that is kind of some extra tips there is, yes, know your why, but also you can still contextualize and personalize what you do on specific landing pages and specific campaigns so that you're actually laser focusing without having to change your business model. We're not saying that you can only do SIL in your business model, but have a SIL page and a SIL campaign and a, group center activities or group programs page with a campaign. So people looking for that are taken to that tailored information.
I think that, we talk a lot about having your why very clear, and it almost doesn't matter what service you do, whether you are niche or you're diversified, the right people will connect with the right why that matters to them at the right time. And having that so clear is just going to help that cut through so much easier.
Yeah.
Tania, I wonder if you could give us a bit of an idea about how providers can ensure their marketing strategies actually remain relevant in the NDIS, because, there are changes, things are changing, and there's so much providers have to stay on top of. How does a provider stay relevant in the evolving landscape of the NDIS?
Yeah, I think it's really iterating and realizing that your website's never done, your marketing's never done. It's not something you can set and forget. I was at a Provider Collective event recently, in, I think it was December, and someone got up and she said, I've been in the NDIS for 10 years and I've had to redo my website 3 times.
Oh, goodness.
And I was like, I kind of feel like you should be redoing your website every year, if not like every 6 months, every couple of months, because you really want to make sure that the information on there is showing that you're current, you're understanding the climate, you're serving participants, and really needs to be responsive. I think the days of building your website once and leaving it are really over. And that's why, like, social media is about posting several times a day and getting that information out there and staying relevant, and all of that, all of those backlinks and information out there. I think we've moved past the point that you can have one image, one website. You need to kind of be talking to people, talking to your clients, asking them why they chose you. And then using those words, the words they use to describe your service in your copy. I think that's really important. So in my business, we do client testimonial videos, and I do that whenever I'm doing a podcast interview with someone about their service. I just say, look, there's 5 questions about my service. And one of them is like, why did you choose us? Well, one, why did you choose a consultant to begin with? What were your pain points? And then what was the best thing? And from doing that, I actually get a lot of things that I wouldn't think people would say. So a lot of people say I'm really fast, I'm really efficient, I'm really organized. And they're things I know about myself, but I didn't know they were important to my clients. If that's important to them, in my messaging and in my sales pitches, I can be talking about the time frames, because they've said that speed is important. They've said that organization is important, so I can talk through how I organize them in the process. And if they talk about, my expertise, I can talk about that. And so I can talk about that in my messaging. I can talk about that in my sales pitch and also in my proposal documents, so that if everyone that I'm talking to is saying that that's important, I'm reiterating the pain points that they might actually not know they're looking for in the first instance. So I think when it comes to providers, I think staying relevant is about understanding why every client who signs up with you has chosen you. And it can be really simple. Why did you choose us over the other provider?
Yeah.
What was it? Was it the trust and the support coordinator? Was it the referral? Was it that you'd known me for a long time? Was it our website? Was it the speed we got back to you? And all of those things are clues around what you should be emphasizing. And you shouldn't have generic messaging like we are person-centered and we care about everyone and we're going to give you good quality of care, because everyone promises that. But what's your tangible brand promise? Will you get back to them within 2 hours? Will there always be someone on call 24/7? If something goes wrong, can they have your personal mobile number? They're the types of things I see that cut through, and they're the promise as opposed to the sales message.
And they're really tangible too, right? So I know when someone will get back to me when I'm dealing with Tania. I know that what will happen, right? And I think that if providers can actually identify, and this is, again, like you said, conversations with your ideal clients using the language that they use is really going to help you identify what the tangibles are that you deliver. And if they're the same for this group of people, then it's probably the same for the wider group of people as well.
Yeah. And I think people would be really surprised at what their clients think is the best thing about them.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So one of the questions I ask is, what was the best part of working with TGC? And I'm always blown away at the responses. And it's never, it's actually never about passing audit. It's never about compliance. Often it's about having someone to walk alongside them, someone to answer their questions, someone who always gets back to them, someone who makes them feel secure. They're all emotional attributes. And I never would have thought to sell myself around how emotionally supportive I am, right? I don't feel like that's that, but that's actually the benefit that people receive. So let's go past what you're giving them, whether it's I'm going to be the best personal carer, and actually what's the benefit in that? What's the end user actually receiving from you that puts you apart from other people?
Yeah, that's great.
And I think if you do that, you'll always be relevant, because it's that almost co-designing your business with your participants around what's important to you, how can I deliver that, did that work for you, and that iteration process of service delivery with the messaging of your marketing.
Yeah, love it.
So Paul, we're in a new year. It's 2025. There's lots of innovation out there, things like ChatGPT, automations, lots of other tools and things for providers to play with. What are some of the innovative marketing tactics that you think providers can adopt in 25 to stand out from their competitors and maybe do things a bit smarter?
Look, did someone say AI? That's been floating around a little bit. I'm going to come back to that because it's really important that we have a very clear goal of what we're trying to achieve with our marketing tactics, because there's the idea of being able to be relevant, as we've talked about, right? And then innovative is how do we really stand out and be at the front edge of it? We've seen so much happening in the world of marketing, and you can automate so many things. But I want to bring it back for a second to be just really practical and simple for our providers. And one of the tools that I use when marketing is I don't create marketing content. What I do is I work with my clients, and then what we do is actually use that information as our marketing. So if I'm doing a workshop with my clients around actually the big one for 2024, which was always coming up, was I have no time. And so we did several workshops throughout the year about, time blocking and solving time and using some systems and automations to remove time and be more systemized. Well, those worksheets, those videos became part of our marketing because it was relevant, as we talked about, right?
Yeah.
So then we can look at the idea of, right, well, if we know what we're doing that actually is getting results, then we want to look at how do we get it out, right? So don't just go out to create all this amazing stuff. Find the practical stuff you're already doing and repurpose it.
Yeah.
That's when we start to look at things like our social media campaigns, AI to make things easier, automation. AI is more of a tool than a product, and we can use it in so many different ways, but it's amazing how people are relying so heavily on it for some things and running in the absolute opposite direction in other opportunities. And so there are many things out there that we can use to help leverage the information we have around AI. There are, obviously ChatGPT is a fantastic tool, but we don't ask it for information. We input information and then ask it to either expand on it or break it into chunks for people to consume. And so using your information inside of there, you can then create a massive amount of content, not just asking it to spit out something generic, because I think we've all read posts and blogs and scripts where people have read things and you're going, wow, I can almost hear ChatGPT speaking through this when we look at it, right? So we want to make sure that it's actually our words. And there was one sentence that was said to me a couple of years ago when AI was coming out, is that how can anybody take you for your word when it's not your words?
Right? That's great.
And so I always want to make sure that we are using it, I'm actually the person bringing the information.
Yeah. Yeah. So on that, and I'm sure you've done the same thing, Paul, but I spent quite a lot of time recently setting up my own ChatGPT instances and training them using my content. So as an example, we have a ChatGPT called Sell Summit Assistant. And inside our Sell Summit Assistant, we have put in all of the dates, the locations, the speakers' profiles, the sponsors' profiles. And simply from a productivity point of view, that means that I can actually go and say to it, hey, what venue is the Queensland venue and what's the address? And it can tell me straight away. Or who is there anyone speaking at Sydney, Melbourne, and Brisbane that's in kind? And it'll look it up and tell me. Yep. And so little things like that save a lot of time. And then what I like to do instead of it actually writing the post for me is that I will say, here's the copy we've written for something else that we really like. We want the same tone, but I want you to talk about Paul. So let's say I've written the first post about Paul. I've got the structure I want. I've got my Canva templates ready. I can then say, I love this post about Paul, but I want to write this about Josh Picks from Resolve. Use the same tone, messaging, topic headings, take Josh's bio you've already got and create that for me. Fantastic. And then that'll do those things. And so I found by doing that, it saved us so much time on the memory side of things of where is Josh talking again? What city's Paul coming to? What's the name of Paul's business? Who was sponsoring that event? Because we've got 13 events a month and we've got the SIL Summits. We've got SIL Summits in 6 locations. Just remembering if Tommy is the MC for that event or if Paul is, just those things when you're doing the marketing for the team takes a lot of time. So I would really suggest that if you're going to use AI, that you actually invest in a training process.
Yes,
you almost think of it like a brand new admin staff member. You actually sit down and give ChatGPT an induction. These are the people. These are the locations. This is what we're doing. These are the types of post. And I actually have created in each our ChatGPT instances a style guide for it. So we actually put into it, these are the words. So I don't want to ever see in our copy powerhouse. I don't like that word. I don't like empowering, right? You'll never see me say I empower providers. I worked at a college called Empower, so I can't use that word. So it actually has a list of words we're not going to use in our marketing and a list of better words. And every time it comes up with something we love, we copy that, go into the settings and paste it in and say, this is the new template or the new way of doing it. And training it constantly to actually be a tool like you would train a staff member.
Yeah, look, I think we're at the point now where people really need to start, as you said, treating it like an admin assistant and paying it $30 a month, right, to have access to the better features where you can create your own GPTs inside of it. You know, in January, we're actually rolling out a couple of different custom GPTs that we've created in Profitable Provider for our clients to use inside of our portal. And so part of that is about, you know, inputting a short video and your testimonials, and actually giving you some really simple content. Other things around uploading your voice and actually putting that in there so that it can start to formulate, emails that are going out that you're actually doing to promote your business. Even coming back to the side of admin, responding to some generic emails for you, so that you don't need to spend that extra time. And then on the flip side of that, also creating some of those tools for your marketing as well. But there is so many more things available, which is really powerful. One of the things that we're really seeing is the amount of video content that people are consuming on a regular basis. I've seen several different studies, and it ranges quite drastically, but the average was around 17 hours a week.
Wow.
The people are consuming video on their phone.
Wow.
Most of the time on silent, reading captions.
Yeah.
Right. And so if we're thinking about, well, what part of this am I missing out on? Which platforms are benefiting video? How are people consuming this? And if we talked a bit about, you know, being self-conscious on photos and all that sort of stuff, but people connect when they can see a face, look you in the eye, and hear you talking or read the captions below you, literally just talking about how you've helped people or the problems that you've solved this week. One of the most powerful things is really just simply, hey, here's what we did this week. We helped somebody to, I'm just going to say generic for now. We helped somebody become more independent and find some work or whatever it is. But those little snippets help people connect. They help start seeing this person is getting results.
Yeah.
And it allows people to connect on a different level. The beauty is, and the absolute beauty is, we were talking about ChatGPT, you can transcribe that video. That video is now in text format, which you can add to your ChatGPT custom profile, which adds to your tone of voice, which creates content for you. And it's all your content, right? And it's amazing how one small thing can be broken up and used in different places. We are in Profitable Provider this year really leveraging simplicity, and simplicity helps you be profitable. It helps you not work 27 hours in a 24-hour day. It helps your whole team really understand what's going on. And so taking the idea of, how do I not make my business more complex with my marketing? I'm not adding stuff to it. In fact, how can I leverage automation, video, AI, all these sorts of things to make my life simpler, not harder?
Yeah, I think that's great. And I know I'm probably the extreme, because I know that I'm, great with technology and I have an amazing team, and I'm a bit of, I have a lot of resources in our marketing side of things. But what we've done in 2025 on that note, and maybe it sounds chaos, so maybe it doesn't sound simple, but what we've done is, for the last 2 years, we've always done a quarter of marketing at a time. So we've done 3 months of marketing posts, scheduled that all out. It takes about a week to schedule out a quarter, and then we schedule it into a schedule. And then at our weekly meeting, we go through it and see if it needs updating before it goes live. So we've done that for the last 2 years in a quarter. And we decided that, I was spending so much time proofing marketing stuff, getting stuff ready. We've got all these sales summits. We've got all this stuff going on. And we really didn't want to spend all of our time on marketing. So what we did was actually hired some extra people in October and November. last year, and we knew that it would take us used to take us 2 weeks or thereabouts to do 3 months. So we actually gave ourselves 6 weeks, and we actually have done all of our marketing posts for 2025. And so they're all there, they're all in template, and some things are missing. So like, we don't yet have the sponsors for X event organized, but we have the templates, the style guide, the post. It's all in our scheduler, and if there's something missing, it's just on hold, so that when that comes in, my assistant Ruby can just add the logo of the sponsor, everything else is ready, and press go. And so we've really tried to make sure that our marketing doesn't take over all of our time, and we want to keep the time that I personally spend on marketing, and Ruby, who's my assistant, we want to keep it to under 2 hours a week. That's our goal. We do half an hour in our meeting, which is an hour for us combined. So 2 lots of half an hour, because there's 2 of us doing it. And then Ruby gets some extra time to make edits. And that's really all the marketing time we want to spend. But we have a very huge marketing calendar. We do 2 posts a day, 7 days a week. So for somebody who might be aiming to do 1 post a week or 2 posts a week, there's no reason why you can't also think about the systems and processes behind it to make that simple. As an example, we do a quote. It used to be out every Friday. I think it's out every Saturday or Sunday, but everyone loves the quotes. So what we did was we went and got 52 quotes. We used ChatGPT to help us do that. We created 5 different templates of inside Canva, and you can actually export outside of ChatGPT into a spreadsheet and upload that spreadsheet into Canva, and it pushes the quotes into the template and you download them. So you've got 52 quotes done for the whole year in about an hour. And so now all of our Saturday posts are done. We do client testimonials. We do the podcast, on a Tuesday. We've got every placeholder ready. So once the video is recorded, download the video, put it into the template, and press go. So it's really about how do we use as much automation as possible to streamline it, so that we actually then have capacity to do things out of that. So that's our business as usual. But then if I decide that I want to go and run a new webinar, it's quite simple, because I've got the template, I've got other copy. I just need to tweak that a little bit, choose a date, and we're kind of off. And that way it makes moving fast and lean really simple. I think there's going to be a lot of government changes in 25. I think we're going to have to do a whole lot of webinars and a whole lot of extra content around it. And so we can pull something together in a matter of hours and have it live, because we have those things already sitting there kind of half ready to go.
100%. I love that. And because what you've just done is you've shown people that it actually is possible to have a system in place that you could lay out a whole 12 months of process for your content, but still be nimble enough to make changes as you go through, right? Yeah. And it's not that hard when you understand your systems. And we can look at anybody using any piece of software, and on average we're using at about 30% capacity. Yeah. I would imagine most people jumping into Canva are going, right, open new Instagram post, choose a background. What do I want to say on this thing? But there are so many more options. Even just simply installing your brand kit into Canva is going to save you a heap of time to be able to do these things, right? Absolutely. On the flip side of that, I do my content weekly, right? And I've laid out until October because we've got a bundle of stuff happening up until October. And we've got a very clear plan of what's going to happen. However, I record my content weekly and then we spread it out for the following week, basically. My content relies a lot around what I'm currently doing with my clients, and then we expand on that for the marketing. And we also look at what's happening right now. So while we build the content weekly, the templates, the format, the GPT, all those things are there and set. So all we have to do is input very quickly and things become scheduled for that next week. Now, obviously we've got things that happen every week, and so they are pre-scheduled for the whole year. But we've got things that happen like, let's see what happens in July, June, July this year. Let's see what happens around the election that will be coming up at some point very soon. And so we want to see what's happening, be nimble with those things. But there's so many different ways to do this. But if what you said before was having 2 hours a week to get all that content together, I wonder how many providers are actually going, oh yeah, I should probably allocate some time in my week to decide what's happening and what's going ahead, or meeting with my marketing manager, or the person that I contract to do my marketing, or the admin assistant who at least goes through and puts the posts together. Like, whatever level you're at with your marketing, allocating time in your week to be able to go, right, what's relevant, how far ahead do we need to be, and being able to go, right, let's say that for January and February you put out the minimum, but what you did do was build out an annual system, just like Tania's got, right? Then from March onwards, you've built out everything you need for the next 12 months.
Yeah.
So there's so many different ways we can do this, but providers, don't spend 2025 the same way you did 2024, because otherwise you're going to get the same results. And it's going to be just continuously hard work. And I forgot to post, and I haven't done this thing, and all I'm doing is reacting and not being proactive for this. And it will always keep you behind. So look at those options you've got. There are so many automation tools. So many of these AI tools have amazing free levels. And when you decide it's the right one for you, get the subscription for it. And, basically an employee at $30 a month is going to save you a whole heap of time. And it's amazing how many people don't just spend a little bit of extra time looking at those options.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we've covered a whole lot today, Paul, around new marketing strategies for 2025. I think that was really great. I guess that's probably enough for us today. I think we could keep talking about this all day. I think we both love sharing our insights into this space. But yeah, thanks so much for chatting today. And next week or next time, we will be talking about how to embrace changes in 2025. And we'll talk a little bit more about things like technology, automations, emerging technologies, tools for not just marketing, but also things like service delivery and streamlining. So I'm really excited for that one too.
Be fantastic. Awesome. Chat with you soon.
Yeah, thanks so much. See you guys later.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Profitable NDIS Provider Podcast with Tania Gomez and Paul Bryan. We hope you found today's episode informative and valuable. If you enjoyed the show, please don't forget to subscribe, leave us a rating, and share it with others who could benefit from our insights. Until next time, keep thriving.